After I spent $8,000 of my own money on small gun safes, I tested the biometrics, I found deadly design flaws, I tested long-term reliability, and a couple of safes broke all by themselves. And then I probably tested over 10 small gun safes to see just how tough they really are. And with all that, these are my top gun safe picks. This is Verifi's biometric gun safe. Main features: Verifi safes feature a self-diagnostic test every 24 hours or after every use. There's also an open door alarm, battery meter, tamper alerts, and data log. Automatic opening and locking door, interior light, fully carpeted interior, 4-year battery life, and the best biometrics I tested out of all major safe brands. This is one of the few biometric safes with true vein detection. I will cover this in my quick access rating. And now onto my Pry rating. The Verifi safe has an 8-gauge steel door and 14-gauge steel body with 2 steel deadbolts. From my test of other safes and with the build and design of this safe, I believe the Verifi safe would put up a fight above the Sentry safe you see here, but not as strong as a Fort Knox. The Verifi gets a 4.5 out of 5 Pry rating. Now my quick access rating. Verifi safes feature an FBI rated fingerprint sensor made by Zydeco Biometrics. In my biometric test, it easily passed my wet and powder test, and it was one of the hardest safes to biohack. With this test, I made a print from fabric glue of my fingerprint. Most biometric safes open with a fresh glue print only, but I had to add graphite to the glue to finally hack into the Verifi's biometrics. Now with my vein detection test, I cannot hack into the Verifi safe with a glue print placed on a glove, as you can see here. This is vein detection in action. And the Verifi safe was the only brand to pass this test. The Verifi safe gets a 5 out of 5 quick access rating. It earned this one. Final thought: I own 2 Verifi safes that have performed flawlessly for over 3 years. These are quality safes that I put my trust into. This is Vline's push-button gun safe. Main features: this Vline safe has enough room for a 1911 or 2 compact handguns, as you can see here. This safe is my standard for 100% quick access, and that is thanks to its mechanical simplex push-button lock. Made from 16-gauge steel with pry-resistant clamshell lid that extends completely over the sides of the safe. Also has 4 pre-drilled mounting holes for permanent placement. Vline safes are made in the USA. And now onto my Pry rating. It may only be 16-gauge steel, but with Vline's clamshell design and continuous hinge, and when bolted down, the Vline is pretty much pry attack proof. The Vline gets a 5 out of 5 Pry rating. Now my quick access rating. The simplex lock is also made in the USA, and it's not cheap all by itself. Simplex locks are easy to reprogram and even easier to use. This is the lock I use for my personal quick access gun safe. With no batteries or electronics to worry about, and even better, no keyhole to pick open, these push button locks simply can't be beat. The Vline gets a 5 out of 5 quick access rating. Final thought: I've had my Vline safe for over 3 years, and after spending $8,000 on different small safes, which ones do I believe will still be working in 50 years, this Vline would be one of those safes. This is the King Fort Knox PB1 multi-gun safe. Main features: when I lock my gun in a little tank of a safe, I want to know I can get it out. That's why I'm 100% sold on the Kaba Simplex push button lock. And it's not cheap all by itself, as you can see here. Plus, Fort Knox has a lifetime warranty and are made in the USA. And now onto my Pry rating. I tried to pry into this little tank, and as you can see here with my PB1 model, I can tell you this: my pry tools are pretty much useless. Even if I could get some pry leverage, you're now dealing with thick 10-gauge steel and this massive steel bolt. I base my top tier rating system on how Fort Knox safes are designed and built. The Fort Knox gets a 5 out of 5 Pry rating. Now my quick access rating. If my life is on the line, I don't want batteries or electronics to worry about. I want a 100% mechanical safe, and that's why my Fort Knox is my personal bedside safe. The push button lock is fast and easy to use, and it's just going to work for years to come. The Fort Knox earns a 5 out of 5 quick access rating. Final thought: Fort Knox safes are my go-to vehicle safes. Neither extreme cold or heat will affect these little tanks. This is the VaultTech VE20 gun safe. Main features: for the money, the VE20 is the best VaultTech model you can buy. You get all the toughness and build quality of the VS20i, but without the added cost of the biometrics or smart features. Made from 16-gauge carbon steel construction, features automatic opening lid, includes a rechargeable battery, interior light, and a steel security cable for on-the-go securement, and has 2 pre-drilled holes for permanent placement. And now onto my Pry rating. With VaultTech's progressively formed steel body and with 2 locking latches with anti-pry design, as you can see here. And if this Sentry safe with 1 locking latch took me 23 minutes to pry into with level 3 tools, I can only imagine the problems this VaultTech would give you. The VaultTech VE20 gets a 5 out of 5 Pry rating. Now my quick access rating. The VE20 has 2 ways to enter: number pad or good old-fashioned key. My personal VaultTech has been 100% reliable after 3 years of hard tests. This is a brand I trust. The VE20 gets a 5 out of 5 quick access rating. Final thought: compared to other brands in this price range, I would take the VE20 every time. This is the Stealth Shadow SV1 gun safe. Main features: this is the most secure gun safe you can buy, even more secure than a Fort Knox, Vline, or even Viking safe, and here's why. The Stealth Shadow features a UL-approved S&G Spartan electronics deadbolt. This thing is even EMP rated. S&G locks are the type of electronics found on bigger safes. You won't find this on any other small safes. The Stealth safe features a super thick 7-gauge steel lid, 10-gauge steel body with a gas strut to help lift that heavy lid, foam interior with space for 2 full-size pistols. And now onto my Pry rating. With the 7-gauge steel lid and still deadbolt, the stealth safe is on another level of protection. Even a skilled attacker is going to have major problems with this little safe. If you need the best of the best, this is it. The SV1 gets a 6 out of 5 rating. It just broke my rating system. Now my quick access rating. The UL listed S&G electronic lock is simply the best you can find in the small safe category. Just simply input your code and twist the dial and you're in. The Shadow Vault SV1 gets a 5 out of 5 quick access rating. Final thought, the Shadow SV1 is the most secure small gun safe you can find. This would be my go-to storage option, but also a great quick access bedside safe. It's a tank. How I rate stuff. I know it looks like I rate everything highly, but I really did spend $8,000 on these small safes, all put on my credit cards. And then I get no views on YouTube. Alright, enough about my suffering, so let's start with the curious case of the Bill Conch. This locker would lock down in place with your right hand, as you can see here, but with only one small tap in the middle of the lid, it would open all by itself. I even thought it might have been possessed by Satan, but that actually turned out not to be the case. You have to press down in the middle of the lid to lock the lid down, as there are 2 locking latches with this locker. And trust me, that's one deadly design. Now onto the pry test. The Bill Conch was tougher than I thought it would be with this sheet metal build. And as you can see here, the 2 locking latches broke off into the body, but they did detach from the sheet metal lid. The Bill Conch got a 2.5 out of 5 pry rating. Now here is the RPMB lockbox, with only one tiny locking latch, as you can see here. By the way, if you ever see this tiny locking latch design, it's probably not going to be a tough locker. Anyway, here is the full pry test. And there you go, 8 seconds to pry open. The RPMB got a 1 out of 5 pry rating. This list is not in order because I wanted to show this Sifley lockbox, as it has a similar latch design as the RPMB. It was a little tougher and took 1 minute and 8 seconds with stage 1 pry tools. The Sifley got a 2 out of 5 pry rating. And here is the RPMB single pistol locker. Side note, this locker would drain its batteries as it sat. This is not good and was the only locker to have battery drain issues. And here is the full pry test. And that's another 1 out of 5 pry rating for RPMB. Let's move up half a rating from the RPMB with the Onias. The Onias looks just like the Ananus. I'm just gonna call it the Anus from now on. They do look the same, but they are not 100% the same. And here is the Anus test, starting with stage 1. So let's see how fast we get in here. The anus just popped open in 13 seconds with stage 1 pry tools. And here is the Onias test. So that one took 35 seconds and actually bent the lid. The Onias earned a 1.5 out of 5 pry rating. And here is the only cheap brand that stood out, even though it was recalled for its biometrics. But I do believe Allsafe has fixed the biometric issues as of now. I really thought I was going to get in fast and easy with this under $100 safe. But as you can see here, it does have a nice size single locking latch. And to my surprise, took 3 minutes and 82 seconds with level 3 pry tools. And so there is my 3 out of 5 pry rating. Now we move to a stage 4 rating, the Sentry Safe. You will need to go to my channel and find the full test, because it took 23 minutes and 47 seconds with stage 3 pry tools. That was not fun or easy, trust me. So what is a stage 5 rating? Pretty much means pry attacks aren't going to work. Here is my Fort Knox PB1. The design alone prevents any possibility to pry into, as you can see here. Stage 5 is pretty much angled grinder territory. And there you go, my 1 out of 5 pry rating system. Until next time, see you then.